this recording? All right. So you can do this seated on the ground, or this can be done in a chair, because for some of us, getting down to the ground is challenging. So a lot of these postures can be done seated in a chair if you prefer. So when I talk about, I like that this is really going to be titled as upper body freedom. So when I think about upper body freedom, I think about it as a chance to unravel what's been done, how we work on the computer, how we devise. Maybe you're taking care of children. Maybe you've been spending a lot of time on the couch and very slumped. So we all do something differently in the day that does provide a lot of opportunities to undo all that. So one thing I want you to think about in this class is moving to where there's a space without pain. So we've all heard the saying, no pain, no gain. That is opposite when you're thinking about yoga in a therapeutic way. I want you to think about this as no pain, all gain. So you're going to move to a range that works for you. If, as I'm doing something and your range is fully different than mine, that's okay. Our bodies are different, and there's no one normal body, right? I was just reading about this the other day, that there's not a normal body, right? So really, we're all different, and please move to what place that feels good for you. So again, keep this in mind, no pain, all gain. And another thing is good alignment is good therapy, right? When we're in alignment, it means our blood flow can flow easier, there's less blockages, right? We have energy that is able to move more freely. So we're thinking about good alignment is good therapy. Another thing I want us to do is think about, we're going to be kind of strengthening the upper back, opening the chest, and we're going to be working on getting rid is the wrong word. Working to counter this forward head action that a lot of us have. So much so that a lot of us have actually eliminated our cervical curve from being forward a lot, right? Our head is more forward, the curvature is really not there so much. We're going to work on that a lot as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is the throat for a moment. So the front of the throat, we have a horseshoe-shaped bone right about where if you would think about an Adam's apple, the center kind of your throat here. And this is called your hyoid bone, and it's actually shaped like a horseshoe. So if you softly put your hand on your throat, very softly, I want you to feel like you're pulling your throat away from your fingers. So your fingers are slightly touching the throat. Pull away. So we're going to pull the front of the throat away from the hands. What we're doing is actually taking this hyoid bone and we're slowly pulling it back. So front of the throat, slowly pulling it away from my fingers. And whether it actually draws away or you just feel it get a little lighter, think about pulling the front of the throat back. So we pull the front of the throat back. It allows us to take our head that may be kind of forward like this, and allows us to start to strengthen the back of the neck. So here, pull the front of your throat back. Now, you can pretend that you're sitting up against a wall. I like to do this one with my head against the wall. So as if your head was against the wall, or if you did this at your car and you're at the stoplight, and every time you go to a stoplight, you angle the bottom of your chin kind of towards the earth, so it's not tipped down, just kind of in line with the earth. And then you pull the front of the throat back, and then you press the back of the head into this imaginary wall, as I'm using, or the actual car seat, and you'll feel the start to strengthen the sides of the neck, as well as the back of the neck, so front of the throat back. Notice when you pull the front of your throat back, it also lifts the chest a little. So it's hard to pull the front of the throat back and be in this poor posturing. So let's pull the front of the throat back. And let's lift our upper arms up towards our ears, like you're going to wear the shoulders as earrings. So lift them up, and then slide them back. Slide them back like you're sticking your chest out, and then let the arms fall again. So this allows us to use the three parts of the shoulder in conjunction with each other. So we have the clavicle here, your scapula, your shoulder blades, and the humerus, your upper arm. these are the actual three parts that encompass making the shoulder. So let's lift up the upper arms again, draw them back, so your scapula are together, and then let them slide down your back. And this will feel more lifted. I'm going to show this standing, and you may be standing as well. So if we have our kind of regular posturing, we're going to lift the upper arm, guide the shoulder blades together, and then let them fall down. So now my chest is nice and lifted. And what's different from this is I didn't just pull my shoulder blades back. I used the three parts of the shoulder, clavicle up, scapula together, letting the humerus and the arms fall down, right? And then pull the front of your throat back. So we've got this beautiful posturing that really, as we start to even, in fact, stand up if you're sitting, and try this, just on your mat. So go to your regular posturing, kind of move around. Lift upper arm towards the ears. Guide scapula together. Then let them fall down. Nice chest lifted. Pull the front of your throat back. And now you probably feel pretty funny, but your posturing might look beautiful here. So my chest is lifted, I'm working the front of my throat back, and I might even just kind of try taking a few steps around. Now you might think you look funny, right, because it feels funny inside, but this is great. We're strengthening the upper back, we're opening the heart space as well as the front of the throat, pulling back. So those are three or however many I've lost count now, things that I want you to think about doing when you're standing or even sitting here. So whether you're sitting on the ground, I'm going to do these standing, I'm going to come back to seated. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to do a joint freeing series for our neck. Now these motions may seem pretty simple, and they are, but what we do is we don't take our neck in all the ranges that it can be most of the time in our day. Most of the time we're here, we're forward. Maybe you look if you're driving a lot over your shoulder or crossing the street, but we want to take our neck in the directions that it can go throughout the day. So let's start with that. So whether you're seated on the ground or standing or seated on a chair, we're going to start with this joint freeing series for the neck. So what I want you to do is just look over your right shoulder, but only go where you don't have to force it. So I'm just going to naturally look over my shoulder. And if you get dizzy during this, you can always close your eyes. So I'm going to look and find a point of focus. So for me, I'm looking at this certain point on the wall. And if I made my neck go further, I can make it go further. But that is kind of forcing this range. So I want you to go to just before you feel like you've reached your max range. So again, no pain, all gain. Only going as far as I can look without having to force the look, if you will. So looking as far as you can in one direction. Then come back through center and do the other side. Again, don't crank your neck as far as it will go. A natural look to where you start to feel a gentle stretch, but it's not cranking into the neck. Find your point of focus on the wall. And what we're going to do, and your pace could be different than mine, is all we're going to be doing is looking over each shoulder. Now, with that point of focus that you found, as we do this for a few minutes, you're going to see that this, in your own body, that this is actually going to change. You're going to get this natural range of motion. You're going to get extension in this range, as if you were going, it'll actually be further than if you just cranked your head around the first time. So we're just looking over the shoulders. Now, you may see, oh gosh, this doesn't seem like it's that much. But what we want to do is keep our neck moving in the direction that it can. There are a lot of things that we need this for, right? Crossing the street, driving, grabbing looking to the back to check on the people in the back seat of your car. So taking our neck in each range that it can go, starting with looking over the shoulders. Again, try not to crank it. If you get dizzy, you can close your eyes in between each side. You may find later that you actually feel a little bit of tenderness in the side of the neck after taking this long with this action. So what I want you to think of as you're doing these postures today, some will really resonate with you. And I want you to try to dedicate 5 minutes a day. Maybe you just choose one. I don't like to assign exercises because then we won't do them. So we're just looking over the shoulder. We're going to take about another full minute. Again, notice as you do this that you're likely getting a little further range. You might even start to feel it on the side of the neck a little differently. So counter what we do all day with postures that take our body in the range and the spaces that we want it to move. And if your range is not the same as mine, again, please don't compare yourself to anyone else. Notice when you're forcing the turn. I can just feel on my other side that I kind of forced the turn. Let this be no pain, all gain. Let's do one more on each side. And then come back to center and just kind of observe how the side of your neck feels. Right, we're just looking that way. So the next one's going to be ear towards the shoulder. So let the head come to the side like you're listening to your shoulder. One of your arms can hang off. I like that added extension. If it's too much, keep the hand on the leg. So just kind of letting your ear go to the side. And breathe in, bring it back up to center and switch. Now again, try not to force the head down. Let the weight of the head do this natural extension as well as the arm being down to the side. Breathe in, come back to center. So we'll do this for a few minutes. And it's kind of nice. You may not be able to see unless you're in front of a mirror or something, the range change in this one. But if you dedicate 5 minutes a day, right, we're doing a little longer than 5 minutes in this next series today, but 5 minutes a day to do these, you'll notice a difference in your mobility in your neck. Right, we've all had that time where we like get up and our neck is tweaked for the day, or we've looked wrong, or yawned, or sneezed, or something odd, and then our neck hurts the whole day. We can't look around. Nobody likes that. It's one of the worst feelings to not be able to move and have this full mobility and range in your neck. So this is an important exercise. And this is one thing that I know that I take for granted, the mobility in my neck, until I don't have it, until I have strained it in some way. Again, these could be done seated in a chair, standing, or seated on the ground. I can already start to just feel better blood flow through my upper back and my neck here, up into my traps and my thoracic spine. I can feel it already. Maybe you're feeling something like that as well. Remember when you draw the head back up to center, right? We're strengthening, so one side is contracting, the other side is lengthening, and the strength is drawing that head back up to center. So we're going to take about 30 more seconds in this one. And the nice thing about these is they are accessible, right? You can do this. You're taking a break from schoolwork, or working at your desk from home. One more time on each side. Head back up to center. You might feel like rolling your shoulders around. So we have one more direction that we're going to take the neck. And this one's really great for several things. And keeping your ability to swallow. What we're going to do is take your neck all the way up. I'll show this on the side. What I want you to avoid is letting the head just get heavy and crunch. I can feel my neck crunch here in the back. I don't want that. I want to keep lifted in the chest. I want to think about lifting like I'm drawing my chin along the front of the room. So the back of my neck is as long as I'm able to make it. I'm not collapsing the weight. I'm lifting the weight of my head and my chin up. So lifting, pointing. And then bringing the chin back in towards the throat. So in towards the throat. So while you do this, this could be the action you do every time. You can add a lion's breath exhale here, which would look like this. So breathe into the nose. Your tongue will go out. Tongue goes back in. Initiate the swallow reflex. And inhale, draw chin all the way back up. Stick out tongue. Tongue back in. And repeat the process. Now, keep doing this. If you don't want to take your tongue out, that's okay. This is really great for anyone that has trouble swallowing, has trouble speaking clearly. This helps the swallow reflex. This helps open the front of your throat. So continue this one. This one is particularly good for if you've had some sort of deterioration in throat. I know I've worked with someone before that had neck cancer and had the radiation through the neck, and this is helping bring back the swallowing reflex and the abilities there. So whether you just need to take your cervical curve and give it a curve again, right? By lifting the chin up and bringing it back down. Or maybe you're releasing something and you want to take your tongue out. Tongue comes in. Let's take a few more of these. And notice the feeling, the difference in the front of the throat as you lift the chin, right? It should feel really energized. I feel just this huge stretch in the front of the throat. Helps in your ability to just feel more free through the front of your throat here. Let's take about 2 more of these. With or without your lion's breath. Bring your head back up to neutral. What a difference. I mean, even if you just take this first 15 minutes that we've done in this next series, or you shorten it down to 5 minutes, this is key in keeping this mobility in our neck. So that was a joint freeing series for our necks, and I hope that you feel some difference here. Again, remember when you're working on posture to use all 3 parts of the shoulder to lift the chest and pull the front of the throat back. So we're going to move on now to actually a child's pose. Now, this is not functional for you. You can do a seated cat-cow, right? If you're, you can even do a standing cat-cow. But what I want to use this next posture, embryo pose, what we're going to do is to release the back for a moment. So we're taking our body actually into this dysfunctional shape for a moment, which is where we are a lot, which is rounded forward, right? Hands back towards the feet. So we're going to be taking our body into dysfunction for a moment so we can then appreciate the space of opening. So what I want us to do is, if you have the ability to take your legs all the way together, we're going to bring our hands back towards our feet. Now, with the legs closed, and hopefully you're there, I'm just going to kind of talk, your belly is forced to press into the legs. So when you take a full belly breath, I want you to try to envision your breath moving into the lower back. So belly presses into legs, breath moves all the way to here. Now as you exhale, I want you to feel like you're extending your spine, because you are. As you exhale, navel pulls in and lengthen, crown of the head forward. Full belly breath opens the space all the way to the lower back. And then exhale, extends. Now, if you did this, we're going to do this for a few minutes. If you did this one, you had one of those time-lapse cameras, you would see that the change in the upper back from this rounded space that I've got here will eventually lengthen out more the more that we do it. So belly breath, belly presses into legs. Exhale, extend, lengthen the spine. So let the belly pressing into the legs be what starts to open the space into the lower back. Take about another full minute here. Breathe full into belly, into back. As you exhale and lengthen. If you're starting to feel compressed in the neck or upper back, it just means that you like them to pick up the forehead a little bit and let yourself extend and lengthen more into the spine. This one is really beautiful for making traction in the whole back by using the breath. Make sure your breath is full and deliberate, that you feel it into the lower back. Take a few more breaths here. Bring your hands to the mat and slowly let yourself press up. If you are feeling kind of tired in the legs or just that they've been bent too long, extend the legs, get some movement back through, just bend and straighten the leg. The next one we are going to do is from a tabletop position. It is going to be like we're pressing the ground away. So if you need support for your knees, get some pad underneath your knees. What we're going to do is round into the back, just like a cat pose. So your back will round. Now this will make it harder to see in the video, so I'll show you and then I'll turn my back towards you. So my scapula are broad and round here, and breathing full into the upper back. Now I want to keep my arms and elbows straight, but I want to pack the joint of the shoulder. So what I'm doing is drawing the scapula together. So probably hard to see with this shirt that I've got on, so I'm going to show my elbows again. Round to the upper back. Arms and elbows stay straight, but I'm going to sink my chest down. So scapula come together. Round, upper back gets full. Arms and elbows stay straight. Just sink your chest down. Now, if you were seated, it looks like this, round. And then I'm going to pack the shoulders. I'm actually guiding the scapula together. Round, full into upper back. Pack the shoulders, that means scapula together, rooting the head of the arm bones back. So try this a few more times and just round into upper back. And then draw scapula together. Again, round, upper back, full, full, full. Arms and elbows stay straight. Sink your heart down. Let's just let your chest come down, your scapula together. One more. And then shoulder blades together. That should feel good. I like that one. Okay, next one. This is one of my favorite ones. We do this sometimes in restorative class as well. This is called, I like to call it a clamshell or an alligator arm. And so what we're going to do, if you do not need a blanket or towel, but if you have one, you can use it for your head. What this action is going to be, I'm going to be laying down on my side. I'm going to take one arm up and over, and eventually all the way out to the side. I'll show this laying down as well. What you want to do is follow your arm with your gaze. Coming to the ground. This one is so amazing for opening up the chest. It's a great release for your pec. It's also a therapeutic exercise for your shoulder. So if as you come to laying on your side, bend your knees. Make sure you have enough space over you for your arm to go up and over. Let me scoot down so you can actually see my arm here. All right, so I'm laying on my side, knees bent, hands stacked. I'm going to drag one arm up and over. Fingertips are connected the entire time. Now, depending on the range of your shoulder, this may be it. Please do not force range, and please keep your fingers on the ground. So when my hand is up and over the head, I may, maybe I stop here. If I've had a shoulder injury, it likely is not comfortable, and I'd stop here. Otherwise, turn your palm to face up. So now your fingernails are on the ground. Then, I'm going to slowly let my fingernails still connect to the ground. Now my torso is facing up. Let the the hand still stay connected, the fingernails, then reach until you come to this T position with your arms, this lowercase t. You can't see my back arm now in the video, but my fingernails are still connected. My knees are still pointing in one direction. Chest starts to point up and reach. Reach to this top arm like if you touch the opposite side of the room and start to work your top arm. The one I'm working is my left arm. Left side scapula to the ground. Then, keeping the nails connected the whole time, I come back through, back to here, hand stacking. So this is the action. Fingertips touch, fingernails when they're up and over your head, and then work all the way to this opening. This is by far my favorite chest and shoulder exercise, and it's accessible to everyone. Now your range might not be full range, and that's okay. So please start to just move with what works for you. And keep the tactile work the whole time. That means our nails are touching or the fingertips are touching. If you have to lift your arm to make the movement, then either bend your elbow and stop there, or maybe with the bend of the elbow will provide enough change that you're able to take this range. So this one can be done for as long as you want to. We'll do it a few minutes here. I'm going to turn this way. But this one you will notice a change in range as well. So if you have some limited mobility in your shoulder and you chose this to be the posture that you're doing for 5 minutes each day, and maybe you stopped it above your head all the time, you'd notice that in a day or two, maybe you're able to go about an inch more. This one is really worth the time. It is great for countering poor posturing that we do in our day. What we're doing as we open up not only the pec muscles, which tighten and shorten when we're rounding our upper back a lot in the day, but we're also slowly warming up the joint of the shoulder, which is great because sometimes as we're warming up the shoulder, we think, oh, we should just put our hands behind our back and maybe lift the fist up and away from our back. That's going to be very jarring. For some of us who may have trouble bringing your arms up and over our head, this would be an exercise you would do before you'd even try to come into Tadasana in your as your standing posture. So really work to the fingertips, get the shoulder blade down to the ground. Then you might just close your eyes and just notice how this feels, how beautiful the fingertips feel, the nails feel on the ground. This is just so yummy. You could do this all day, so I'll have to make sure that I'm keeping us at kind of a time. Let's do a few more. Let's do one more. On this last one, try to reach. Reach as far as you can to the fingertips. Close everything back up. And we're going to roll into our back. So roll onto your back. Keep your knees bent. Just kind of feel out the difference. So not only will you feel that the left side scapula, or whichever arm you were just working on top, is more rooted to the ground, that this left arm or your arm you're working feels longer. That side sacrum should also feel more rooted to the ground. So this whole side, the top side that you're working, should feel like you've got a change. You might even feel like your left hip bone is a little lower than the right because you've tractioned this whole left side of the body different than the right side. So just let the arms be for a moment and feel that beautiful change that you've made in your chest and your upper back and in your shoulders and in your lower back. This is I always said I love this one because I love it. All right, we are going to move to the other side. So you can switch sides if you still need to see. I'm going to do the same. So lie onto the opposite side. Stack your hands. We're going to drag the top fingertips again up and over the head. If your shoulder range allows, Then you'll keep going by turning the palm to face up. Fingernails touch the ground and reach all the way out to wherever you can, that your fingertips still touch. This first one especially, make sure that your eventually your head comes to gaze up to the ceiling, and then reach to the fingertips. And then just keep this action moving. We'll spend a few minutes on this one. So this whole upper body series that we're going to work through today is meant to be accessible. Ones that you could do maybe 5 minutes here, maybe the whole series like we're doing today. But something that you can really commit to. So I usually say, again, just a few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 postures that you're going to do, and you do them consistently. So that's the key in making change, is allowing time and consistency to undo what's been done. Right? We're unraveling this posturing we do throughout our day and countering it with something that takes our body in the opposite direction that it's been. The opposite posturing that we're holding. Imagine if we countered the postures we did all day with an equal amount of time that we held the other postures in. That would be amazing. We would all be balanced. But since that's likely not the case, commit to a time that you can actually do. Pick 1 or 2 of these that felt really good and keep doing it. Close your eyes and just let this be very therapeutic. The tactile sensations, the fingers, the nails. We'll take a few more. On this last one, I want you to hold words in the open position, and you're going to start to reach your fingertips towards the opposite wall. And take a few breaths working that top side scapula down to the mat, reaching energetically through your fingers, right? This great alignment this great space we're making, allowing for better blood flow. And then let's slowly close all the way back up. Come onto your back before we move on to the next posture. And just align yourself for a moment. Feel the difference on each side scapula, on each side sacrum. You might even feel this into the rib cage. It might lay a little flatter than it did before. Okay. So the next postures we're going to do, we're going to be standing up, giving ourselves a break to come up for a moment. All right. So let's come up to standing. And we're going to do a few, just to kind of find some movement in the upper body. What I want us to do first, this next one I like to call like lion claws or tiger claws. It's almost like a standing cat-cow. So from the side, I want you to reach your arms forward with your tiger claws and look, I'm rounding my upper back very full. And then pretend like you're holding on to a bar of some sort, like you've grabbed something. And now we're going to pull it back with the strength of our upper back and bring our hands kind of in line with the center of our chest. So from the front looks like this. So we're going to breathe in and reach. And then breathe out, pull back, and lift the chest. Again, breathe in, reach out. Grab something, breathe out, pull it in, and use your upper back muscles. So like you are pulling something back towards your chest. You should feel the rhomboids and the upper back get really nice and strong here. So breathe out, reach for something, round, and then, or breathe in as you reach. Breathe out, round, and pull it back, and lift your chest back up. Let's do about 3 more. Breathe in. Breathe out, pull into chest. Good, again. Hold on to something and breathe out, pull it in. Last one. Good. Now turn your arms up like a goalpost. If this could be done against the wall, what I'm going to is pretend I'm like up against the wall. So some of your hand might be in line with your elbow, yours might be more forward, but you're going to press the elbows back. Now, make your feet about hip distance apart so it's easier to stand. It looks like this, the goalpost. We're going to do the exercise that we did at the beginning, where we pulled the front of our throat back, press our head into the imaginary wall, unless you're at a real wall, elbows up against the imaginary wall, and if you have the ability, fingernails. So this is a lot of work already in the upper back. You're probably feeling this into your back. Now this may be it. It might be here. Throw back, back of the head back, elbows back, fingers back. This may be it. You may be able to start to keep that. And bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Now, I am trying to pretend as if I'm up against the wall. If you actually have the ability to move up against your wall, try this. Try to keep elbows, maybe fingernails connected as you bring them up and then back down. It's really hard, especially if you're using the wall, where you're only going as far up against the wall until you would feel like they would need to come away from the wall. That would be your range, or maybe here. You may be all the way up. I feel this in my upper back a lot. So let's do about 2 more. Let's do 1 more. Let the arms go. That should feel like a big one. So you'll want to kind of round, bring the arms forward and back. You might even interlace the hands and push away. Kind of free the shoulders for a moment, because we are, again, going to bring our hands up behind the head in just a moment. So that's a big strengthener for the upper back. Okay, next, hands are going to come behind the head. Feet hip distance apart. I want you to press your head into your hands. Front of the throat back. Lower belly supports and pulls in. We're just going to take a side bend to start. So side bend, head presses into hands. I want you to, so if you're bending to the right, I want you to push through your left elbow up and reach down through your left heel. So you've got to work this side in opposition. Elbow up, heel down. Head presses back into hands. Belly strong. Inhale to center. Observe the change you've made on that side, and then switch. Root through heel, root through elbow, head press into hand. Hands, belly pulls in strong. Feel this beautiful stretch to the side, waist, heel strong. I even lift my toes. I'm not able to see, but I lift my toes so I can root to the heel. Inhale back to center. Breathe out. Other side, root, pull belly in and extend through elbow. Inhale to center. Other side. And reach, other side. So this should feel very, kind of like your taffy. You're pulling your body like those awesome taffy machines that you see, right? Stretching down through heel, up through elbow, head into hands. Let's do 1 more each side. Belly strong so you don't take this into the lower back. If you don't hold your belly in and kind of lengthen the lower back a little bit, it's easy to kind of sway forward. So, and that tends to put a lot of undue pressure in the lower back. Ooh, come back to center, let the arms come down. Give them a little forward and back action. All right. Next one, we're actually going to make some traction in the head. So, holding onto your head, fingertips pointing up, front of the throat back. I'm gonna just kind of pull up. Pull up gently. Glad I can't see this really well because I'm sure my face looks very funny. So I'm getting some nice traction in the head. You may do a slight to the side as you traction and come back up. Now, if this upright traction doesn't feel great for you, or you're not really getting this kind of pulling up action, this could be done halfway, maybe here, and pull. I like mine folded and a gentle. Now we're not trying to pull hard, we're just adding weight, especially more forward, to traction out the back. So either folded, maybe if you're in a squat, you can kind of lengthen forward, or this could be done upright, lengthening up, some traction in the neck. Choose which one of those three felt best. And then if you are standing, slowly come to a fold. Whether you have to hold your elbows on your knees, or you maybe have your hands on a block. Fold forward, and just let the shoulders round here for a moment. Let the head just hang. So we want to just release for a moment, upper back. Because we're going to be doing one more, another upper back strengthener in a moment. So just release here. And it feels good to sway. It feels good to traction the head. Do that. I like when I fold to kind of bend one knee and then stick my butt out for some extra traction, so then the other side. So you're pulling gently the lower back. So again, the nice thing is, when we do get this uploaded live, you may take this in chunks. You may say, this is a long one for me. You might decide to just kind of do 15 minutes at a time, or pick the exercise that works best for you, and do it in 5 minutes a day, like I've been talking about. Okay, so we're going to use the block next. If you do not have a block, this is okay. You can do this without. You may, however, say this fold is a lot for you, that it might be too much of a fold. Then you'll want to put your hand on maybe a water bottle or even a chair. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use the muscles underneath our scapula to lift the arm. This is going to be done from a fold. So you're either folding with maybe here and then you let one arm go, or if you have a block or water bottle, something that gives you this kind of height, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take one arm, my hand support onto block, water bottle, whatever you got, and the other one free. And I want you to start making some big circles. So we're just letting the arm, and again, you can bend your knees, whatever you need, making some circles just to start to warm up the upper arm. Now, what I want to do is I want to bring my arm up by using my rhomboids underneath the muscles underneath my scapula. There's several underneath there, but let's just talk about the muscles underneath your scapula, so underneath your shoulder blade. So without bringing the head of my arm forward, it's actually going to kind of come back. I'm going to focus on where the tip of my scapula is, the lower part of my shoulder blade, and draw the scapula back towards my spine. So notice how this arm has gotten shorter. Well, not shorter, but it's come up away from the ground, but I've used the muscles underneath my shoulder blade to lift them up. And I'm holding here, feeling it. Leaning into this block here, bending knees if you need to. Then release down. So pull up. So what we're doing is strengthening the muscles underneath our shoulder blades. Yes, hold it there. It should feel like a lot of work. You'll feel this one later, especially if you're not used to doing this. Now, say you're doing this in the mirror and you feel your arm come forward, or you bend your elbow, then you're doing it incorrectly. If it comes towards your ear, that means you're bringing it forward and you're not using the shoulder blade coming back. If you bend your elbow, you're using like your tricep strength to bring it up. Let this arm just be like a weight and draw your shoulder blade towards your spine. And then when you get it there, hold it. That's how you should feel like it's starting to work. That should be hold it for several seconds. And then release it back down. Again, scapula draws towards your spine. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Your posture is going to be amazing today. This is going to be, you're going to stand around like proud the rest directly in the mirror. You don't want the head of the arm coming closer to the ear. You don't want to bend the elbow to get it up here. It is your shoulder blade holding it there. And if I was here in class with you, I would come around and make sure it's done right. But it's the very tip of your scapula, pulling down and up, or up and down towards your tail, up, towards your spine. This last one on this side, and we'll switch. Good, release. Woo. Bend your knees, bend your back, round your back, I mean. I'm going to switch directions. Okay, so support yourself. This arm, making some nice circles. Hopefully your back feels really strong here. I can feel mine. So we're just letting this arm drape. It's just draping here, making some nice circles. Again, supporting yourself over your knee bent or straight legs. Now with the arm remaining straight, I'm going to use the muscles underneath my scapula and draw the scapula towards the spine and hold it there. Once you get it there, hold it there for a few seconds. And then release it down. Good. Several of these. Pulling it up, scapula towards the spine and down. Your arm just hang, and then release. Again. So arms kind of strong, we're integrating the upper back, and then release. Let's do maybe 3 or 4 more. I actually wasn't really counting on the other side. I'm just going to try to do it until I feel that the sides are even here. This flossing the shoulders sometimes. Okay, other one, pull the scapula up onto your back. Scapula up onto the back. Hopefully you're feeling this. This is a lot of work. This is what allows us to stay really strong in our upper back. It's really great posture. Let's do one more. Good, release the arm. Okay, slowly walk yourself back up. You might do a shoulder roll or 2. Okay, now the next 2 postures, 1 or 2, we'll see what I get to that we're going to get in, are going to require props. So if you don't have any, no big deal. If you have them, then you'll get them. What I really want to show you is therapy balls. If you happen to have lacrosse balls at home, you can have possibly tennis balls, right? These are just a racket ball, something like this. These are a pretty firm ball. Now, this is great to kind of act as your own personal massage. What we're going to do with these, and if you don't have one, I've experimented with big sock bundles or like a washcloth. Now, no, they compress under the weight of your body if you use a sock, but I put like 3 or 4 socks in one, so it's really big. And then when I lay on it, it still acts not as great as this, but it is something you could make at home if you want to try. So what I want you to do is, so I'm going to turn to the back to start. We're going to start with them as the base of the skull. If you happen to have them, we'll be on the ground. We'll start at the skull. We'll do those about a minute or so. And then we'll roll them down into the traps, into this upper part of your back. And I like to work with 2 so it's balance on each side of the spine, and it becomes to act like your own little personal massage. So again, if you happen to have these, we will use them. If not, if you see how this goes, and then maybe you watch it another time when you have them. Okay, so we're going to come down to the ground. We're going to start with these at the base of the skull. So coming all the way down, lift up your head, place these at the base of the skull, and what we're looking for, this is particularly on our skull here, an acupressure exercise. So we're going to find a place that feels like it's a little bit tender but not painful. And I need to hold them. They always roll out for me if I don't hold them. So hold them at the base of the skull here. This is great for relieving headaches, but particularly tension headaches if you have them been looking at the screen for a while, or if you tend to clench your jaw a lot. So soften the jaw, let your head rest heavy into these therapy balls. And we're looking for just a gentle acupressure. If you're using socks or a washcloth, this would also work. Let the weight of your head be supported by these therapy balls. And you can stay as long as you want with them there. As for time, we're going to move on to show the next exercise. So I'm going to lift up enough that now they are on my upper back, where I don't have to use my hands to hold them there anymore. And they're in my upper back on each side of my spine. Probably pretty challenging to see here, but hopefully the orange you can see against the shirt here. And so what I'm going to do from here is I like to have my elbows tips wrapped in. So I kind of tend to put my hands on my forehead. When our elbow tips are wrapped in, it takes our shoulder blades, our scapula, and draws them apart. Right? So when I'm doing my scapula that were once flat are now kind of rolling up to the side. So elbows in, and then from here I can kind of scooch back a little, and then down. So I'm acting like my own personal massage here, and this is amazing. So with the two, right, you're able to roll like you're getting your own personal massage, a little up and a little down. Rolling out this tightness in your upper back and your neck. If you prefer not the kind of scooching, you can also find some stillness, right? Find a place that you want to hold and breathe through it. Now I tend to not go too far down the upper back, but you can go as far as functional for you. For me, it's pretty tender if I get right in between the scapula. I'm just going to cut some right here there. So this is a personal massage. And you can lean side to side, right, and kind of just move it around. So this is, again, personal to you. If you don't have these, again, you might try to make something at home that would work. So just a few more. Again, this one you'll want to do for a long time. So I love to do this about 10 minutes or so, just to work out the kinks in the neck and the upper back. But I won't show it that long in case not everybody has them. If you have them, continue to do this even after I don't. We'll move the block, these out from underneath us, and take a moment and just kind of lay flat. And let the arms go down along your side. And if you were using them, you'll notice that you had that the upper part of your neck and upper part of your back is now closer to the ground than it was before. And so you have this nice just release into the upper back and neck. That one's amazing if you have those, or you can find something you can make shift at home. We're going to take one more that I want you to do that we'll do with a bolster. Now again, you may not have a bolster at home, so this could be several blankets. And so I'm just going to show one again. If you happen to see this and then think, oh, I can make shift something like this later, we'll use our bolster, our block, and a blanket. Again, saving these for the end just in case you don't have all these props. So I'm going to make kind of a ledge or a wedge. I'm going to take the block, kind of put it to the head end of my mat, and then take a bolster and prop it up on its side. So you can do this with a bigger blanket and maybe another pillow underneath. So this is actually kind of a ledge to keep us up, the chest opener. If you have some blankets you want to choose to put under your arms, I'm going to show that as well. So all we're going to do with this one is come up against this bolster and blanket, whatever you've made shift for yourself. I am going to take the soles of my feet together and let the knees go out, but you may keep your legs straight or bent or even wide and knees together. But if we're thinking about upper body freedom here, we'd like the scapula or shoulder blades to come together. The arms come along the sides and palms to face up. So I'm rolling the shoulders underneath, the palms facing up. And this would be the space to yourself up in an angle. You've got your lower back comfortable, whether it's spacious from the lower part of the block like mine is, or maybe yours is flat up against it. It's really what's personal preference for your back. So let your arms go out, let the chest open up, let your eyes close. If you're not in this posture, maybe you're just laying in Shavasana, that is great as well. What I want you to take away from today's class is that we want to give our body time to unravel what's been done. What do we do in our day that we want to undo? Is it our posturing? Is it the story we continually tell ourselves that maybe we need to undo with a positive one? How can we unravel what's been done in our posture, in our thoughts? Can we keep this simple idea of no pain, all gain? You'll stay in this space as long as your body and your practice allows you. Let the back of the hands feel heavy, let the chest feel open. I hope that after today's class that you feel more lifted and open in the chest and in the throat, that your neck has more freedom to move, and that you feel stronger in your back. So when you move throughout the rest of the day, you're moving from this space where you feel really proud and bright and lifted. I thank you all for joining me today, and I hope that you got something out of today's class and that you're able to continue this again. Even if it's one time a day for 5 minutes, you pick your favorite one, and notice the consistency and the value of that consistency and that change. Thank you all for being here, everyone. Namaste.